Hey, hey guys, DB Right here, and today I'm talking about my comic Genesis Almighty I, or as the character is renamed, Agent I. This was basically the first comic I did where I really felt I started to sort of step up as a creator. Back then, my comics used to be drawn on paint and really badly as well. Mind you, the artwork is not that good here either, but this was sort of the first stepping stone to what led to the look of my characters now. And so basically the whole story basically began with the Earth's mightiest heroes teaming up, taking down a rogue military organization bent on world domination, and basically it was led by, of course, Agent I's big nasty main enemy, Benson, the very man who basically blinded him and disfigured him, basically putting him in his helmet in the first place. And, yep, even looking back on this comic now, it's still like a lot of fun to do, and was definitely a big mess of a story. So, as it started out with this, we also got this other subplot going on where this sort of future version of Benson, whether or not he was another clone or a relative, I never really fully decided. He intended to basically go back in time and kill Agent I, and he fooled the old military dude that this was for the glory of that rogue military unit I was mentioning earlier. But of course, as we can see here, it, well, doesn't exactly goes the general's way here. And this story, it's basically non-canon in my stories now, but it was still fun to look at even now. Back with my characters had all their old names and all the old plot lines, and there's Sorrow there as well, Revolker, Inferno Man, and some characters I don't work on anymore. I basically just focus on Agent I, Benson, and Sorrow. And all the other characters that appear now are just part of those two series, Sorrow and the Agent I series, which are both linked. And just looking back, I'm looking back at how I was really bad at trying to draw my characters to pose, how I couldn't get my drawing straight, the backgrounds look shocking, even here they look shocking, and yeah, just looking back on this now and seeing how far I've come, it's really been quite a journey. And we actually did put a bit of a sequence here where we got to see Agent I becoming Agent I, getting his surgery, his new eyes put in, his helmet, and it's one of the interpretations where Agent I actually got to keep his face. It's not disfigured like it is in the new comics. And this whole backdrop here was sort of based off Brisbane in this side of the story. Cause, I'm from Brisbane, so I spent quite a bit of time there and took some photos and tried to replicate as best I could. It's always want to have characters have like a big fight scene in Brisbane, and it's supposed to be like a younger Benson battling with Agent I, and this is one of the moments where he actually defeats him in the story. And I don't know, just looking at the art work and just creating the story as I went and seeing where the story went. And ultimately, it's basically a time traveling story in the long run, which ultimately I wanted to do a story of what would happen if the world's best hero wasn't suddenly a part of it. Agent I being the critical factor that united all the heroes in this timeline. What would happen if he was suddenly not there anymore? And we had opportunities to throw in other facts in there about the character at least, including his bit of his love life and especially his hatred for Benson. And we had the wedding of Agent I and Goldie, and then Benson jumps out of the wedding cake and disrupts the wedding, ultimately killing Agent I's wife right there in front of him, fueling more of his hatred for Benson. So ultimately, when you read the comics, Benson is ultimately a bad guy. And it's no different in the new Halloween special that I'm working on, despite that pretty much you're rooting for the bad guys in that story, which I'm not going to spoil that for you guys. And that's coming out soon. Soon enough, anyway. So yeah, we got to get this whole flashback and memorial. A lot of people who read this got very confused about the overall story because we kept jumping from flashback to flashback, and I wasn't very good at plotting out which timeline was happening when. So I do understand people's confusion as I read back through it myself. I mean, I can understand it because I wrote and drew the thing. And actually like this part here. This is pretty cool here. Using the sand to blind him and bombs going off and everything. Yeah. This was a pretty good step up from drawing these on the old paint program anyway. You know the ones I'm talking about, like the ones they had in the 90s. This was my first attempt drawing a comic with GIMP. And I remember when I first drew this, I was like, this is looking good. This is looking more like a comic book. And I look at what I've done now, it's like, this is poorly done compared to what I'm doing now, what I'm working on now. And yeah, if you read these comics and read the new ones, it's like, which one's canon? And I assure you, the Genesis or Mario story, this one here, is no longer considered canon. What I'm working on now, all the new stuff I'm working on now, is what's going to be canon. The Halloween special, not so much, but all the facts that are mentioned in the story are canon, but the story itself might not be. I haven't fully decided yet. And so, basically we got this story to thank for how far I've come in a way with it. And the reason this story ultimately was called Genesis Almighty Eye, because it introduced Genesis Kraid, the son of Agent I and Goldie, that Agent I never really got to meet. And basically, it's up to him to basically fix everything that this guy changes, but we never got to that part in the graphic novel. I decided to keep the original ending where the character just gets wiped, and the ultimately it was pretty cool what we did here to take him out, because of the nanobots that constantly heal Agent I, you basically gotta be able to vaporize them basically. So Denham James Benson here just had to keep travelling back to the same moment in time, firing the same gunshot, same moment in time, different location. So the gunshot became millions of bullets, enough to vaporize the character. And then, oh yeah, okay, I did put the other ending in here where Genesis comes back and blames him. Okay, I forgot about that. So he does actually save Agent I, but we did keep the I'm pretty sure I kept the original ending as well. At least I think I did. Oh, yep, here we are, yep. Yes, I did add the alternate ending here in this video. Sweet. So here we are here, we're back here, and he goes back in time again, and this is what he does when I was talking about before. Ultimately kills the character, and we get this alternate timeline playing out. It was lame how I drew him warping back in time. That was just really lame. But ultimately, I always look back on this project as, even though the artwork was terrible, it was still just a lot of fun to create this and make this. And I always look back on it when I need that inspiration to keep going and make more. See what he's doing? He keeps jumping back in time. He's firing bullets everywhere. And he just keeps going back to that moment until there's enough rounds that it just, well, you'll see, vaporizing the character. And it does here. So, it is definitely one of the comics I'm more proud of. I am definitely really proud of this year's Halloween special, which it's beginning to look like it's going to be a mini series, because I really don't think I'm going to finish it in time for Halloween, and there's still a lot more to the story to be done. I honestly thought I'd have it finished by Halloween, but it doesn't look like it. And I want it to be really, really good, because it's, in a way, it's going to be reusing some of the old characters I used to use in the older comics. People who have been killed off in the older comics will be making reappearances and things like that. And we'll see Goldie again. The Scream King, which we'll probably see later in this comic, he's like a jack-o'-lantern kind of character. I used to like Nightmare Before Christmas, so his original look, he wore like a Santa costume with a pumpkin mask on his face, a Halloween pumpkin mask on his face, as inspired from Nightmare Before Christmas. But over the years, I've changed his look. He looks more like the way I want him to. So yeah, he'll be back. He'll be back again. Agent Maroon, other characters like that. It's pretty cool. We actually get to see this alien takeover of the planet in this story here, what we're reading here. And jumbling. Yeah, where hostile aliens take over the Earth because Agent I wasn't there to stop them. Instead, we had this alternate Agent I who was a mess up. And, yeah, I don't know if I'm ever going to go back and actually, redo this comic and put it into this new timeline. I really don't know yet. I sort of work on my comics and things as they sort of come to me, and I always reference to the other comics, so we sort of get a bit of a reading order with them, and a way to fill in the blanks. But ultimately, yeah, each comics is supposed to be like a different story each time, unless it's part of like a mini series or something. Yeah. So ultimately, yeah. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll be back again with more of these. Don't forget to like, subscribe for more comics and other content. And I'll see you guys next time. Catch you later, and yeah, have a good one.